Hi, everybody. Welcome along to another episode of the Healthcare Recruiter Lunch and Learn. And I'm actually, I know I say this every time I'm excited, but I'm extra excited today because we've got someone who's an expert in Facebook, an expert in sourcing and engaging talent using that platform. She's spoken at the recent NACR conference, and a lot of people were very interested in that. And I just wanted to sort of bring her on and share what she has to share with everybody else. So Danyelle Felchner, welcome along.
Hi, thanks, Adam.
Could you just start by introducing yourself?
Sure. So my name is Danyelle Felchner. I am located in Springfield, Illinois, so the heart of Illinois, the Midwest. I am currently a senior talent sourcer at Memorial Health System here in the area. And so what that means is I consult with recruiters and hiring managers to really identify the best qualified candidates for positions across the health system. A lot of my focus revolves around growing the social media presence of talent acquisition here at Memorial. So I manage different social media platforms and collaborate with our marketing department on digital media strategies and that sort of thing.
And that is exactly what I wanted to start with. So I know a lot of recruiters want to do social media, but they say they either don't have the time or they don't have the budget within their department. How do you actually make that work? And how can other people build a solid strategy like you have?
Sure. I'd say the first thing is definitely reach out to your marketing department and figure out how you can collaborate best with them on what you want to achieve with your goals in recruitment. Be collaborative and open to suggestions with your marketing team if you have one. If you're kind of ready to just go on your own and figure out how to make it work, I recommend starting on one platform first. Typically, I recommend Facebook is a good place to start. It's a pretty easy platform to understand and get to know the strategy behind.
Okay, yeah, and when did you get started then using Facebook, and what was that learning process like for you?
Sure. So I have a background in digital marketing. Before I came here to Memorial, I worked at a local agency here in the area where I managed social media for a few years for businesses across multiple industries. So I kind of had a good groundwork of knowledge before I came here on how digital marketing and social media works. So that's really how I got started within it. I really dove in and just learned the platforms as much as I could, so I could kind of figure out the strategy.
Okay, and what did you find out then? So what did you find out which works? What sort of core values on social media exists whenever you're thinking about advertising jobs or trying to source healthcare workers?
The biggest thing to do, when you're just starting out using social media for recruitment is know your audience. I cannot stress that enough. Know your audience and who you're wanting to reach out to. I recommend also lay out your goals for what you want to achieve through social media. Of course, you want to hire people. All recruiters want, hires at the end, but you have to understand that you aren't going to get an immediate ROI using Facebook. It's all about sharing your message, getting your brand out, letting people trust you as a brand, as an organization, in order to get those people interested in working with you alongside you. I like the idea of developing social media core values, so centric to social media, and developing an authentic reputation online. So core values should be implemented to definitely protect the integrity of your organization and the brand along with your colleagues. So different core values that I like to use with my team: accuracy, so fact-checking, accountability, being able to articulate your social media digital communication plan to your internal and external audiences, transparency. You want to make sure that you're open about who you are as an organization and what you do. And then the last core value I like to implement is humanity. So being aware of what you're publishing and making sure you're using proper tone.
Oh, I think that last one's so important because everybody can see it. If you
Absolutely.
put it on Facebook, it's not
Hmm.
just job seekers. It's literally like everybody who knows about you can go onto your page and see what you're posting. Um,
Absolutely. I've seen a lot of organization post like different memes and videos that just don't feel appropriate. So just making sure you're consistent with your tone and making sure you're being respectful at all times is
yeah,
huge.
just to follow up on that, if you get abusive comments or people, just randomly posting stuff, how do you deal with that? Do you hide the comments? Do you respond to the comments? What's your strategy if you have a strategy to respond to that?
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely think it depends on the nature of the comment. Um, if somebody is commenting and it's just a negative statement or why am I not being hired, that sort of thing, I'll usually respond to it in a very general way. That way, publicly, people can see that we are monitoring comments and we are open to
Hmm.
communication on comments, whether they are good or bad. Usually, we'll just respond with something like, "Thanks for your concern. Thanks for your comment. Please, we'll send you a message to discuss further," something along those lines. If it's a comment that is derogatory or something that calls out one of our colleagues or team members, we'll usually take it as a case on a case by case basis. We'll hide the comment. We'll try to reach out to the person just again to have that conversation to see, is there something we can do to fix the feeling or help, reassure them of, our actions. Um,
Yeah.
and then we'll hide and then go from there.
Has there been many cases where like people have been happy that you've reached out to them and they're turned
Absolutely. A
around?
lot of people, yes, absolutely. A lot of people don't expect a response. um, they just think, it's just a social media page, so I'll just comment, nobody's going to respond to me. There have been some cases where I do reach out and I do have a conversation, and they're very grateful that we did that. And so then at the end, if I feel like it went well and they're appreciative of it, then I'll ask, hey, do you mind going back to that comment and responding and saying, something along the lines of it was taken care of,
Okay.
or whatnot, just so again, public facing, they can see that we're okay communicating with somebody who might not be happy, and then we resolve the issue.
Yeah. That's awesome. I haven't met anyone who makes that on my day effort. Good stuff. So I think the question on a lot of people's mind would be, how can we actually prove the ROI from this? How can we say to management or
Mhm.
people within our own team that social media gets us hires, because it's quite easy to track it from Indeed and job boards, etc. What would be the
Mhm.
important metrics of social media, and how can healthcare recruiters best read them?
Yeah, so I'm just going to stick with Facebook and talk about
Okay.
what I recommend looking at there. Again, it's the easiest entry point for organizations to use that platform. When you do have a Facebook business page set up, you have the access to what's called the insights area, where you can look at all the analytics of the page. I definitely recommend people to really get familiar with the insights tab and understand kind of what it means. Um, most most importantly, the previous 28 days metric. And so what that will show you is just a summary of the past 28 days of how your page has performed. So you'll get reach, engagement numbers, followers,
Mm.
page likes, that sort of thing. And being able to really dive in and understand what those metrics mean will give you a good idea of who your audience is and what they like best. Um, from there, exploring what posts you have published and what people are commenting to, responding to, reacting to is huge too, because from there you can report up to your team what type of content people are responding best to, and then you can have help or assistance from the team developing content more like that.
Yeah.
Also, we all know leadership likes to see numbers. So using those metrics and those insights to help guide conversations with leadership to talk about if it's working or not is helpful too.
Do you find that leadership are okay when you talk about the awareness and the reach rather than the amount of hires you've directly made through the Facebook page? Or do they sort of find it hard to move away from we need to know the cost per application, cost per hire?
If you're able to track like what hires come from social media, absolutely track that. We have an ATS that is able to track our traffic from social media. Another way you can track traffic from social media is if you publish like job postings creatively, you can use what's called a bit.ly link, and those are trackable links as well. That way you can see like who's clicked on it, how many clicks are there. But really, I feel like you can't just rely on social media to give you those numbers of how many people were hired straight from social media, right? You're using social media to really build that trust within somebody for your organization. So I don't typically recommend people to just rely on social media metrics to figure out who was hired from social media. I again think that's also part of the conversation, with the recruiter, right? How'd you hear about this position, or what made you decide to apply for this? It could be, oh, I saw it on social media, or that sort of thing.
I think I was speaking to Blair McElroy, who's an ICU nurse, a couple of weeks ago. She said that every time she looked for a job, or any of her friends did, they would always land on the Facebook page at some point in the journey. So I think it's perhaps one of the only job channels apart from the website that people would actually go on every time they're looking into.
Right.
So
at the end of the day, social media, is just an extension of your brand. It's just another way for people to understand your culture.
Yeah. And on that point, can you share with us some of these sort of results you've been getting from social media and Facebook in particular around sort of attracting and engaging people?
Yeah, so I first took over the Facebook page, the careers Facebook page for Memorial. I noticed that engagement was pretty low and that we didn't really have a lot of followers. So I wanted to figure out how to grow the page, right? I wanted to get more engagement. I wanted to get more people, our content in front of more people's eyes. So I decided that was going to be my goal to start, was to grow the brand online on Facebook. And so in order to do that, I had to figure out, like I've been saying, what type of content my audience really responded best to. And what I found is that people love to see other people they know on Facebook. So I focused a lot on sharing, my team members, who's on the recruitment team. Even thinking beyond recruitment, if we're hiring nurses, if we're looking for nurses, I want to feature a great nurse that's within our organization. People loved seeing people that they knew. They would comment on it. They would share on the content. It was really successful, and it's still a strategy that we still use as often as we can, is to feature our colleagues, our teammates. After about 8 months of that solid strategy, I was able to grow the page following by 30%. And then I was also able to grow reach by almost 40%. So huge,
nice.
Huge growth there just by focusing on featuring people that love what they do within Memorial.
And when you say feature, then what does that look like? Is that a post dedicated to a person's story or something different?
Yeah, so that's exactly it. I'll just share a picture, a video of somebody on our team, and usually the text content that goes along with that says something along the lines of, Danyelle chose Memorial because of this, and listen to what else she has to say if it's a video, or if it's just a photo, just like a snippet or a summary of an interview that I did with that person.
That's smart. Because if say okay, there's 200 nursing students in a year and they're all Facebook friends, you put a picture of one of them up, and then 5 of those people in that network comment, I guess all of them are going to see that.
All of them will see it, and then all of them will see it, plus then their network will see it too. So if their friends are friends also with nurses or other clinical type people, then they're going to see it, and it's just the the ripple effect.
That's genius. That's so good. So the final question that I really want to know is kind of something which I'm having to deal with. So I run advertising campaigns for hospitals and home healthcare agencies. A roadblock that I have is the marketing team. It's difficult to get their buy-in because they sometimes see social media as their patch, so something which they should have control of and something which they should be doing themselves. Have you got any advice on healthcare recruiters going through that process and getting buy-in from marketing? How do they actually do it?
Yeah, that's a great question. The biggest thing that I recommend if you're trying to figure out how to best approach your marketing team is just be open in communication with what you're wanting to achieve through using social media. Be open to their suggestions and the collaboration that comes from working with the marketing team. That's what they do. They're marketing. I mean, they're professionals at doing that. And so if you're wanting to get started, take their advice and collaborate with them as best you can, and just make sure you're voicing what you're wanting to get out of provide or getting your own social media going out there. Again, it's just an extension of the brand. So if you think of it in that light, you have the health system social media pages, and you have the careers social media pages. You're representing the same organization. If your marketing department isn't quite comfortable with you having your own Facebook page, then ask how you can plug into their content monthly. Can you have one day a week where you can feature a teammate or a job or something related to recruitment? Maybe after a few months of hopping in on their content, they'll see the value, and then maybe you can then explore the opportunity of having your own recruitment centric page.
Yeah. And how did the careers page come about for your organization? What was the origin of that?
Kind of how I just described it. Our organization, we're on the same page with it's important to highlight the recruitment efforts or needs that we have. And so it just made sense for it to be its own page. It was already established before I got here. And so luckily I had something already, a blank canvas, if you will, to work with.
Yeah. Like an artist.
Yeah,
Is everyone
exactly.
Visit the Memorial Healthcare System Careers Facebook page. I haven't really seen a careers page that's got this level of engagement and interest from people. I'm just looking at a job you posted. We've got 44 people liked or loved it. You've got a lot of comments there, so definitely a model to be followed. And follow Danyelle on LinkedIn. I'm sure there's a lot of useful stuff on there you can get out of you too.
Absolutely. I'm happy to talk with anybody or help with strategy and kind of getting things going. It's one of my favorite things to talk to people about and help them with and see them succeed.
Yeah, great. Well, thanks for coming along, Danyelle. Really appreciate it. I think a lot of value is being shared. And if anybody has any questions, just comment below this video or get in touch with myself or Danyelle. Thank you.